Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Zach from the ZAP podcast. I have always wanted to start a podcast, but I never knew where to start or where to even begin. And then I stumbled across the Anchor app. I love the Anchor app because it's completely free and it has all the editing and uploading capabilities that you need right from your phone. So it's super easy and super user friendly. If you've always wanted to start a podcast, go download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. All right, let's get on to the episode. All right, what's up, everyone? It's Zach, and today I'm here with a very special guest. I'm here with Jimmy Lafakis. Jimmy, how are you?
Doing great, Zach. Thanks for having me on, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for coming on. I'm really excited to have you on. And to everyone listening back home, Jimmy is a video game content creator, really focusing on the NBA 2K series, where he makes content on his social media. He also does Twitch streaming, where he streams with the 2K community, just what he's doing in my team and just what's going on in the game. So really cool things that he's into. But that's just kind of Jimmy on like the very surface level. So do you mind kind of giving us a little bit of your background, who you are, what you're doing, all that good stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So, just real quick, I'm from Indiana originally, and I live in just outside of Indianapolis now. And I went to Butler University here in Indianapolis. I had a journalism degree, and I used to be a sports writer. And now I've, really jumped into doing this 2K stuff full time, and not just 2K. I play a bunch of video games, not just NBA 2K, but full time content creator is a dream that a lot of people have, and few actually get to realize. So you'll find out later, but I'm really grateful for the support the community has given me.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head with that. It's a lot of people, especially I think kids growing up, you get into video games, you're like, oh my gosh, to do this for a career, to do this full time would be amazing. But very few actually are able to do that. What was like the journey like to get to where you're at now for you?
Oh man, we'd be here for like 3 days if I said. But um, so my first job actually was in North Dakota,
Okay.
and it was 1,000 miles away from everything I ever knew in Minot, North Dakota. Shout out if anybody from Minot or the surrounding area listens to this. Just know I got a lot of love for you guys up there. But I started playing 2K in 2K5, and I actually played my team in 2K13, which is the first year of its inception.
Okay.
First year it came to be. Back then it was very bare bones. But in September of 2019, which was shortly after I had moved to North Dakota, I said, you know what? Let me go to GameStop. Let me get 2K. The last 2K I had really played before then was 2K15, which is my senior year of high school. In
Okay.
college, I didn't play it as much. So I got 2K20. I got back into my career. And I mean, I played my career when it was, made in 2K10. And then I started getting into my team again. And so I took an unconventional route, and that's one of the biggest things I talk about on stream and things of that nature is I started this whole thing through Reddit, the My Team subreddit.
Hmm.
And I remember back in those days in late 2019, early 2020, before the pandemic, it had about, I would say, gosh, 15,000, subscribers, 20,000, or just
Okay.
members of the Reddit community, and now it's over like 51,000. Um,
Wow.
so, so I've seen it grow. I've been named an MVP of the Reddit, which definitely means a lot. Um,
Hmm.
and I post on there every day. There's always people on there asking, what can they do to support, and what can they do to make a better team and things of that nature. So I had a initial Reddit account. It got me started, and I was like, you know what, this isn't really doing what I wanted to do. I completely rebranded, made a new account in honor of Dorian Finney-Smith, who's one of my favorite players. We can talk about that more if you like. And then
Yeah.
the next thing you know, I was starting to do stuff on Reddit. Early in 2K21, I made a poll on there. I said, hey, should I make a Twitter account? I'd love to make the budget beast and all that different stuff. And the rest is history.
Man, that's crazy. I mean, it's just so cool to hear the evolution of how it went for you. And it's kind of cool to know that, while you did play a lot of 2K when you were younger, you did have that time where in college you didn't really game as much. I think that that's something I personally experienced too. And I think a lot of people
Yep.
have, but like when you talk to people, sometimes they're like, oh no, like I've always done it. I've always loved it. It's always been something that I spent all my time doing. But like the reality is like life happens and sometimes you don't get to do what you want to do as much, but that doesn't mean
Right.
like you lose the passion for it. It's still always there. You just kind of had to readjust your time.
I don't have any regrets about any of this stuff, Zach. But what I would say is, I wish I would have started sooner.
Mm,
If I would have streamed in college, which would probably wouldn't have been possible, but it's fun to think about.
yeah.
It would have been pretty cool. And when 2K20 was popping off, I just had my Reddit account. Like, I didn't have my Twitter. I didn't stream.
Hmm.
None of that stuff. So I kind of had to pick it up because I don't want to say I was behind the eight ball, but I was going at my own pace, and there was a big opportunity there that I still wanted to capture because even during 2K21 was still a lot of the pandemic stuff going on. So I had to figure that out and make a way out of no way. That's one of my 27 different sayings I have for myself.
One of 27 different
I,
sayings.
I mean, like, I don't know. I'm using that as an exaggeration.
Okay.
I have a bunch of like sayings.
Gotcha.
I have like mottos and things
Yeah.
of that nature. And that's one thing I've said is make a way out of no way. Leonard Fournette tweeted that one day, and I had it as my phone background for a while, my wallpaper. So
Yeah.
yeah, I say just random stuff sometimes. If you guys have ever watched me stream, you know exactly what I'm talking
Right.
about.
I love it. I love it. It's always nice to have that kind of like positivity or just inspiring message. And I think that's something that I've come to learn about you is like, it would be one thing to just, post and stream and do content for video games or a specific video game, but it seems like you do a really good job and you're very intentional about making it positive and making it, respectful and making it welcoming. It's never, just like this toxic environment for people. You're always trying to make it just be the best that it can be and make sure that everyone feels included and like they're supported in it.
Well, yeah, I appreciate the kind words first and foremost, but I mean, I was talking about that on stream today. I want to make sure everybody feels seen and heard. One of the
Hmm.
cool things is when, today is a good example. Yesterday, I see people pop up in my chat and it says first time chatter, first time viewer, whatever the case may be.
Okay.
They're coming in, they're chatting for the first time. People might be lurking for a while, they're chilling out in streams. Sorry, a lot of Twitch vernacular.
You're good.
But they're chilling and they have the courage to speak and then you first time chatter comes back every single day. I Zion is currently out right now, unfortunately, but
Hmm.
I said the other day that he was an MVP candidate, which I stand by. Obviously now with
Yeah.
him injured, that hurts his chances. And this guy thought it was so ludicrous that I said that, but he said, I'm going to come back in your stream every single day and let you know that you said Zion was an MVP candidate. And he's been true to his word. For like the last week, he's been in my streams every single day.
Oh man.
I don't want to dox anybody, but shout out to
Yeah.
that
No,
guy.
that's funny. I mean, shout out to him. I have to take Jimmy's side and like, minus the injury, I thought Zion was balling out of his mind and definitely MVP
What?
candidate.
What?
So I don't know, man. To the guy that's coming in the streams, I don't know. I'm pretty high on Zion.
I am too. I listen, man. The Pelicans are fun to watch, and
Yeah.
you know Charles Barkley. He's had some interesting takes in the past, but I'll never forget on the first night of the season, he said the Pelicans are his team in the West.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of the Pelicans and what they got brewing down there, and I hope they make a playoff run. Um, and Zion is a big reason why he's fun to watch.
He is. I mean, they're doing a great job down. I mean, obviously, Anthony Davis, fantastic player, but I think that just when they sent him to Los Angeles, it really opened up the future for the Pelicans, and they've done a great job, putting together a good team. And I know, I mean, give them a year, a couple of years, and I think that they're going to be a serious contender that people need to really give more respect to.
I think so. I think they have. You could tell they have a culture down there, and the players. You could. I've watched. I have League Pass again.
Yep.
Shout out to 2K for providing that for us as an option this year when you bought the game. So I watch a lot of their games, and you could tell they just like each other. And
Hmm.
I mean, you think about CJ, right? I mean, he's the president.
Yeah.
He's the man in charge, and he's a leader out there. And you got Larry Nance Jr. tweeting the game recaps. We actually had a funny one of Najee Marshall. He edited his My Team card from last year to a 99 overall after Najee had a big game. I think it was like last week. So, hey, more exposure for 2K and My Team. That's cool. But
Oh
like,
yeah.
it's fun to watch a team that has chemistry.
Yeah.
And obviously, shout out to Alvarado. He's become a cult hero for me this year. So it's fun.
Yeah, it definitely is. So, with basketball, the NBA, what's your team then?
That's a really good question.
Yeah,
Uh, so I grew up in Indiana, like I said, but where
right.
I grew up is Northwest Indiana and really close to Chicago. Uh,
Okay,
and so my dad works downtown, and I grew up going to Chicago every week, and I grew up playing basketball in Chicago for the church league I was in. So just growing up, a big Bulls fan,
okay,
uh, and I mean, I still support the Bulls. I love DeMar, um, but at the same time, I'm just the biggest NBA fan you're ever going to meet. I don't care. I watch it every night through League Pass. I play the fantasy basketball. I'm obviously engaged with it because of 2K.
right.
Donovan Mitchell has a monster night. He gets a card in the game the next day. I had the chance to meet Donovan a few years ago and chat with him for a few minutes. So I don't have a team at this point. Zach, that's your question. I'm just a huge
Okay,
fan.
okay. No, no, I respect it. I mean, it's and that's kind of no, I don't want to say that's how I am because the
You're
Pistons will always be my team,
yeah.
but I just love the NBA. Like I grew up playing basketball and growing up in the early 2000s, the Pistons were so fun to watch.
Yep.
So that really got me falling in love with it. And then I think, in the I don't know, 2010, 20 teens, just, school and stuff like that and going into college and I just get more busy. So I didn't fall out of love with the NBA. I just wasn't paying as much attention to it. And I
Yep.
think like I started focusing more on like college football because I was in college and stuff like that. But over the last few years, I've fallen so in love with the NBA.
Yep.
I
Me too.
think that it's kind of like what you're saying, where like the Pistons are my team, but I just love good basketball. Like it's just fun to watch good teams and to watch players and just like see the growth in franchise and stuff. I think is really awesome.
When did you graduate high school?
Graduated high school in 2014.
Okay.
Yep.
You graduated a year before I did. Very cool. Very cool.
Okay. Yeah. So since I did say the Pistons are my team and you're an all NBA kind of guy, I
Yeah.
gotta ask, like, what's your take? Like, do I have hope or am I delusional thinking that we're a few years away from being a serious contender?
I don't think you're delusional.
Okay, I appreciate that.
I think there's a young core there. Hopefully, Cade gets back to be healthy. I like watching him play.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Jaden Ivey fan.
Okay.
Um, he and I know some similar people and mutual
Okay.
people. I would love to meet him one day because it's kind of weird with him because I'm sure he would know who I am, but like
Okay.
I've never met him.
Yeah.
Like if I introduce myself, it's talked a little bit about some Purdue stuff. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, I've probably seen you before." I don't know, man. Kind of a weird situation there, but and
Right.
yeah, I mean, no, you're not delusional, man. I think
Okay.
I think I think the Pistons have some young, intriguing pieces. I'm interested. I watched Sadiq Bey in college when he would come to Butler, and
Yeah.
especially his second year, he went ahead and gave us the business. But Bogdanovich is doing his thing. It's crazy to sign him for an extension, but it's awesome to see him rewarded for his good play.
Yeah.
No, I think there's a young core there. It might take for a few years for it to develop, but
Yeah.
he'll be all right down the road.
Yeah. Okay. No, I appreciate that. I mean, I love Detroit basketball and I've just been so high on this team and I loved when Cade when they got the first pick, I was like, all right, that has to be Cade. And
Yep.
then um last year I was a little bummed with the where the chips fell with the draft lottery, but I was like, it'll be okay. We'll get something to work out. And then when Ivy was there, I was like, oh my gosh, that's perfect. So big Ivy fan. Just being in Michigan, always have loved the Big Ten. So saw a lot of Ivy play at Purdue,
Yep.
and I've honestly my favorite current Pistons player is Duran. I love Duran so
He's good.
much.
He's a good player.
So I think they're in good hands. I think they're I would say 99% chance are going to get a top pick based on how the season's going for them. So hopefully that'll be some good talent for them. The only concern that I have right now is I hate to say it, but just I feel like Cade's been hurt a lot, and I hope he's not. Like I don't know, like Brandon Roy, for example, like phenomenal basketball player that just didn't have much of a career because of injury.
Yeah. No, I get it. And just for some context about the Jaden Ivey thing I said,
Yeah.
I used to take pictures at Purdue.
Okay.
of their basketball games. I went to Butler, like I said,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
my senior year, I went up there, and Carson Edwards is a buddy of mine, so I was
Oh,
going,
nice.
playing, having some fun at Purdue and taking pictures of their games. So, you know, Ivy came in after I had graduated, uh,
Right.
but I loved watching him play.
Yeah.
So
Fantastic player, and Edwards, a fantastic player too. I was happy when he signed with the Pistons a season or 2 seasons ago, but of course he's not on the team anymore. But I think he's a really good player that should get a chance in the league somewhere.
a lot of people said he would never be in the NBA, and
Right.
I'm glad that he's played in the NBA. I think the Pistons should have kept him.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was all about, but at the same time, he's doing his thing overseas right now.
Right.
He will go down as having one of the best G League seasons of all time
Oh
last.
yeah.
He was averaging like over 30 a night, and it was really cool to see him get a chance with another team
Yep.
in the Pistons. And even I think he played only 4 games, but I don't know. I like seeing guys I know and support, playing in the NBA. It's pretty fantastic and something that I always enjoy seeing because like back in the summer of 2017, it was after Carson's freshman year, and he was trying to work on his game. I want to give a big shout out to the NBA trainer Joey Burton, who I used to take pictures for, and do content for him. It was a different time, but
Hmm.
he worked Carson out and showed him the way. And I was in there. It was us three in the gym. I took pictures of Carson, did videos for stuff for him, and just kind of showed him, what documented what he was working on as far as his game. And then he goes and has that big NCAA tournament.
Yep.
And one night I was bored in my senior year, and I just went ahead and threw up this YouTube video together with some clips. And then the video kind of exploded a little bit during the NCAA tournament because people were
Yeah.
searching his name. And I'm just thinking like, wow, this was October 2018 before his season started. And I was getting some pretty exclusive content. In the video, I think I can send it to you. It has over 17,000 views to this day.
Wow.
But it was pretty neat, man.
That's awesome.
Kind of some stuff that nobody else got, and I didn't even go to Purdue.
Right.
So I went to, I guess, what some consider a rival school
Sure.
in Butler. But Butler and Purdue had some great matchups over the years, and I know guys on their team, and obviously guys on our team, and it was fun to be a part of that. Even
Yeah.
though school I didn't even go to, I saw the Virginia game, and before that the Tennessee game, where Carson was going crazy. And it was really fun to watch. I'll never forget those days in Louisville.
I love that. That's awesome. And I mean, like, I think that just goes to show, like, even if you didn't go to a specific school or you weren't like even formally a part of like the program or something, like
Yeah,
that doesn't mean you can't, support it or enjoy it or just like consider them, a special team or special program to you. And it just sounds like it's been a really cool opportunity that you've had to really just go out there and make a name for yourself, do what you love, and to get to see cool programs and meet some really awesome people.
yeah, absolutely. That's exactly right, Zach. And I've been really fortunate to be
Yeah.
in Indiana, the hotbed. I think Indiana is the best basketball state. I think the only state that even has an argument against us would be North Carolina. But
Okay.
apart from that, like obviously you got New York and you got people in Chicago who are doing their thing. But when you see the level of basketball that's played in Indiana at every level, it's really exciting, and I'm a huge fan of it. Um, and I'm blessed to be here. I'm blessed to be a Hoosier, and just be down here, like I said, just outside of Indianapolis, and have access to great basketball
Yeah.
to watch, to go to. Obviously, still supporting my Bulldogs. Uh, been to a couple games this year, so it's really exciting.
I love it. That's awesome. So, Jimmy, something that I did want to pick your brain on, since we are around the same age and everything, we grew up during the same timeline of basketball where, think back to when we were kids. I mentioned my Pistons, Ben Wallace, Big Ben,
Yep.
Shaq was huge. Basically, what I'm trying to get at is, the big man, the big power center, the big defensive center was big in the league. And now, in the last few years, it's become more of like a small ball lineup, stretch four. You just kind of the game's changed a lot, I would say,
Right.
from when we were kids to now. Do you think we've completely changed and this is going to be the future of basketball, or do you think it's one of those things where it kind of like comes in cycles where the bigs are going to come back, or like I guess what's your take on like the current state of the NBA and the direction it's
Well,
going?
it's a good question. I mean, the floor spacing is so important, and Joey, the trainer, I give a shout out to. His whole thing is about shooting, and he's called the shot doctor for a reason. Yogi Ferrell gave him that nickname for a reason. And if you're a big man, you got to space the floor most of the time. But look at
Yeah.
Valanciunas. Valanciunas doesn't really space the floor.
Yeah.
So I still think there's going to be a few big men who will be skilled enough to get minutes and kind of bang around down low without shooting the ball. But at the same time, it's all about spacing in today's game. And I was actually having this conversation with a few friends today. But even with that spacing, the mid range is not a lost art. I love watching DeMar and KD because
Yeah.
they get to their spots and they're great mid range shooters. And obviously, if a big who can shoot the mid range is big as well. So not necessarily having to do 3-pointers all the time. But I don't know. I know Embiid plays a lot around the perimeter, but
Hmm.
my fantasy team and I love watching him play. So I've watched a lot of Embiid this year, and I still like how he goes down low and has a back to the basket game and all the different stuff. So Joakim
Yeah.
Noah, one of my favorite players, and he
Oh yeah.
did a lick from the 3-point line. So he wasn't a traditional, back to the basket kind of guy. So still obviously still did his damage down low. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think we're just going to see a lot of the similar stuff, but it doesn't mean that every big man has to go out and be able to shoot 40% from three.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think like, honestly, if you asked me a few years ago, probably would have said like, no, they have to be able to shoot 40% from the three because it just seemed like that's the way that we were trending. And of course, you have people like Steph Curry coming in and completely change the way people look at the three ball and stuff like that. But I think you're totally right. Like, there's gonna be when you have that NBA talent, like you have that talent, right? Like, I mean, I think you don't have to shoot the three if you're big. Like, you can still play back to the basket and just really post game. And I think that's the cool thing about the league. Like, there's just so many different ways that you can be successful in it.
Yeah, I mean, look how long Steven Adams has played,
Yeah,
and he's just in there as a bruiser, as an enforcer, as a guy down low. So, I mean, I could give you examples, but at the same time, I just love watching the NBA, and I'm excited to see how it evolves.
totally.
There's a guy who always comes in my chat and says basketball is evolving, and
Hmm.
you know he's trolling me, but at the same time, there's a point to it. So yeah,
Right.
I mean, I could sit up here and talk NBA with you all day long, which I would love to do, but at the same time, I just get off on tangents because I really love this stuff.
Yeah. No, I love it, man. Um, Kind of keeping it, NBA, but also switching gears a little bit. Something that I was curious on is when it comes to streaming,
Yeah.
that's not something that I've done. So I don't have experience with it, but I can imagine that when you first start streaming, unless you're coming with a big kind of like following from YouTube or, different form of social media, it might be tough. You might, start a stream and no one's in the stream with you, or maybe you have one person max for 5-minute time spans where someone comes in then leaves and someone else comes in. Is that something that is tough to kind of deal with as maybe a new streamer, or is it something where just like you have to just go to work and know that it's going to take time to build?
It's not easy.
Okay.
It's not. It's streaming on Twitch. Like if people are looking for a get rich quick scheme or just instant gratification, it is not there.
Okay.
It is it's a slow grind, and you just got to be able to think like if you have one viewer in your chat, if you got one person following you and cares about what you have to say, that's a huge W.
Yeah.
It's a big thing. I mean, it's a controversial topic here a little bit, but Aiden Ross just tweeted that on 4 years ago, he literally has a video where he's streaming, NBA 2K19, I believe, to one person, and now he's one of the biggest creators on the platform. And he's like, "Oh, this guy's in my chat. He's a new fan. He's talking with me the whole time. Literally, one dude in the chat just typing." And like, I remember my stream, I didn't really talk that much.
Yeah.
I saw the viewer count take up to 3, and I had a little bit of a platform on Twitter, nothing crazy, and people knew me from Reddit, but like that doesn't mean everybody's going to translate to the stream.
Right.
And like I'm just sitting there like, I just got to keep going. And today, actually, I made a list of some things that content creators, streamers should know as they continue to stream. Because my biggest thing now with the platform that I have, being partnered with 2K, is paying it forward to the smaller, not want to say smaller streamers, but streamers who are just getting started. People who are just starting their content creation journey, pop it in their chat, even if it's for 2 seconds, just to say what's up, and supporting them on their grinds as well. Because I'm nowhere near done. Like, I want to get to Twitch partner. I'm putting that out in the universe now. I need to average 75 viewers to be able to make that happen, but I'll make it happen. And it's going to be really exciting when that does happen, because it's a testament to the community. But to answer your question, it's not easy, but it's slowly but surely over time. You stay consistent. You set a schedule, and you figure the rest will fall into place.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. And like I said, I've never streamed, so to be honest, the whole kind of Twitch world is pretty new to me. It's
Yeah,
something that I'm not familiar with much. I have a couple buddies that do some streaming, but it's not a world that I'm too familiar with. But kind of hearing some of your goals, and that you want to be Twitch partner, and that it takes 75 people on average
yep,
to be in your average stream and stuff like that. To me, that now tells me like I'm popping in your stream every time I see you go live. Like I
yeah,
kind of in my mind, I was like, oh, like if Jimmy's on, like that's cool. If I'm, able to, I'll come say, hey, what's up? Um, check it out for a bit. But knowing how much, just one person can actually make and impact someone, like to me, I'm like, oh yeah, that easy. Even if I, have to just pull it up on my phone while I'm doing something else, like
yeah,
I'm gonna support and show up. So that's really good to know. So I appreciate you sharing that. And
absolutely,
like you said, you're going to accomplish it, and I'm glad that you have that mindset, because the way you said it, that it didn't come off as you being arrogant or thinking you're the best content creator in the world. It came across as you being confident in community that you've built, and confident in your skills, and know that you might have to work on things. It might take time, but you're willing to put in that work. And I think that makes all the difference in the world.
absolutely, man. I mean, the way Twitch has it set up is actually really nice, because you kind of have to prove to them that you're at least someone worth watching in order to,
Hmm.
to start getting paid, and start to earn. With the first step is becoming a Twitch affiliate. And
Okay.
for those who aren't familiar with that, you got to average 3 viewers. You got to stream for X amount of hours, get 50 followers, and stream for like 7 days. So, if you get there, that's a huge accomplishment, because I know that there are people out there right now who are grinding and grinding and streaming like every single day to try to hit affiliate. And like, if you hit affiliate first, that's a huge accomplishment. And it's tough to get 3 average viewers, man. I'm
Yeah.
grateful for every single viewer I get. Like you said, where you're gonna tune in, the people who tab, the people who lurk, those are the real MVPs. To quote KD, man. I mean, it's really cool. Like yesterday, Donovan Mitchell came out with his moments card,
Yeah.
and we weren't, there was a lot of discussion. Were we going to get it, or we're not going to get the card? We got the card, and I look at content time, just past content time, 11 o'clock Eastern in the morning, over 106 people in my chat. And it's like, at the same time, it's just like, I really want to keep that going. And I've stayed consistent this year. I've streamed every day. I'm not saying you have to stream every day. Take breaks when you need to. But you got to be consistent, man. And previous jobs have hampered my ability to be consistent and have forced me not to really have a schedule. I kind of got to it last year, where I was literally streaming from hotels in Wisconsin twice throughout the course of NBA 2K22, and kind of showing, or whether I was at home, I did some streams from my parents' home, my childhood home, my basement, last year and this year. But it's like the thing was last year, like, no matter where I'm going, I'm going to provide content. Well,
Yeah.
now my full-time job, because I worked at it, and 2K saw something in me, and I owe them a lot of credit and a big thank you to that.
Yeah, no, I love that, man. That's awesome. And just because you brought up the Donovan Mitchell moments card, I do have
Yeah,
to let you know I did get the block.
I told you.
You believed in me.
I always, man.
Yeah.
I told you. I listen. I love helping people out, and people, you would have the questions I got the last couple of days yet, especially yesterday. Oh my gosh, how do I get the rebounds? How do I get the block? Like, I love helping people out. One of my biggest things is being a resource. That's one of the
Yeah.
27 different things that I have. Yeah, again, I'm 27 is exaggerated.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I love helping people out, and I knew you'd get the block, and I know everybody else is going to get the block. Today, there's a new challenge where you have to score 71 with them in moments of the week.
Oh
So,
yeah.
you're using any one of the cards, you're probably going to get a block there at some point while you're trying to score 71. So there you go.
Jimmy, I don't know, man. Like I scored over 71 about 4 games, and I still didn't get a block. But
Wow.
it took me what was it? I don't know what it's called, so I apologize for that. But it was like when you get the when you unlock the Tatum card for the like the season challenge or like the season levels.
Yeah.
Um, the challenge where you have to use the Tatum card on triple threat versus like LeBron, Russ, and someone else on the Lakers. I got
Yeah.
it on Russ and on that.
Yeah, man.
So
Yeah, bro. There's some things that are tough in my team that take a
yeah,
little bit of practice, that might take a couple tries, but you stuck with it, and I hope you got the Opal card now, right?
yeah, yep, I got it.
There you go.
A lot of fun.
Love to hear it.
Yeah, awesome. Perfect. So I know that you mentioned kind of like in what you're saying with like the consistency piece, when it comes to streaming, that's a key, factor, key thing that you need to keep in mind. And I know you mentioned that you came up with a list of other things for people who are newer or just getting started. Would you be willing to share any other kind of like tips or advice to someone? Maybe they have started, but they're maybe getting a little discouraged, or maybe someone listening is like, I've always wanted to stream, you know, Call of Duty or, FIFA or whatever. It doesn't have to be 2K. But just they want to get started, but they're a little worried or nervous or unsure how. Do you have any advice for those
I
individuals?
do. I'll give you a couple from my list that I said today on stream. I have more prepared for tomorrow, so I don't want to spoil anything. No,
Okay, yeah.
little nuggets of wisdom. I think that's what we're going to call them. But when you're streaming and you're creating content, you got to be able to laugh at yourself, man. You got to be able to take a joke. The jokes and the friendly trolling, so sometimes it's taken too far, but like it happens. You're putting yourself out there every single day,
Hmm.
going live every single day, sometimes twice a day, and people want to bond with you, and you have to be able. You can't take yourself too seriously. Like I ever since I was young, like I said to myself, even like in high school and then college for sure, I said, okay, I'm gonna take my work seriously. I'm not gonna take myself too seriously. Like, I want to. There's a stigma sometimes around content creators where like they're unapproachable and you can't interact with them. Bro, I'm a dude playing 2K and sitting in with some of my buddies from around the world. You got to pretend like they're in your living room, just having fun and just relaxing and just enjoying the game. I played a game today with a follower of mine. The dude's followed me for a long time, and he's in Israel. And we played some co-op games together. So we were on the same team, and it was cool to talk to him over PlayStation 5 voice chat. And this guy's been showing me love for a long time. He stepped away from the game for a bit, but now he's back and showing me love and a big part of the community. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
Another thing I would share that I shared on stream today is your opportunity, your moment, your big break, whatever you want to call it. It could come at the most random time when you probably least expect it. So when that moment comes and you've prepared and you're working for it, like you got to be ready to take it. And my moment came without saying too much about it because I would be here all day. Uh, my moment came when I least expected it, and really when I needed it the most.
Yeah.
Uh, so, and I was prepared to take that opportunity when it happened, and I stayed true to myself. And we're in a situation where 2K has flew me out to California twice in the span of a month. The first time I went to San Francisco in Novato, California, their headquarters, to play 2K23 early to test the game in the midst of NBA 2K League players, guys who play professionally, guys who, this is their career,
Yeah.
which was incredible. And, that was very like we're with the development team. You know, it's very I don't want to say gritty, but like it was all business pretty much in San Francisco because we were playing and we were testing it out and we were giving feedback and I was breaking down film like on the telestrator you see on TV. I was doing all this different stuff and giving my feedback and hearing those who were in the room with me give their feedback, guys who play this at the highest level, because esports is a real thing and
Yeah.
it's definitely a career. And then a month later, you fast forward, and then we got to go to LA. It was much, they flew out 100 of us from around the world, and for the 2K Community Day, which they hadn't had since the pandemic, before the pandemic. And again, that was a business trip too, but because we had to create content around that, and I ended up making some YouTube content around that, some Twitter stuff, and some stuff for my stream. But that was just more fun. That was a very social event. I was interviewed for 2K TV on there, and it's something that I look back at those pictures and the videos and everything that I took all the time. Like it was like incredible to be out in LA with some of the same people from San Francisco that I'd already met, but at the same time, meet so many people from around the world who have a passion for creating content, and it's all because I took my opportunity that was given to me, and an opportunity that quite frankly I earned. But I was ready when my time came. My number was called. So, okay, I'm going to test your knowledge here for a second. You ready?
Yeah.
Are you a baseball guy?
I am.
Okay. Does the name Wally Pipp mean anything to you?
Oh, it sounds familiar, but I can't tell you why.
He played a long time ago, for
Okay.
like way back in the day, and so he was the first baseman. And so he was a good player for the first baseman. But one day he was sick and he couldn't play, and he was out of the lineup. And this guy named Lou Gehrig, you might have heard of him,
Yeah.
lineup. And Lou Gehrig stayed as the first baseman for the New York Yankees. And Wally Pipp was a good player, but he just at the end of the day he never played again really for the Yankees
Right.
because Lou Gehrig took his spot. And that's my thing is like, Lou Gehrig was prepared for his opportunity when
Mm-hmm.
and obviously it's a way different situation, but I think about that moment.
Yeah.
He put in the work and he became one of the greatest Yankees and greatest baseball players of all time. And, at the end of the day, you got to be ready for that opportunity when it comes.
Yeah. Okay. I definitely think that's why I know the name.
Yeah.
But no, that's a good point, and I
Yeah.
think that's good advice. Just be ready and know that your name's gonna get called eventually, and when it does, be ready to seize the moment. And to make things even more full circle with 2K, it's kind of like you're talking about. You're gonna have that opportunity. It's gonna come up. You have to be prepared. Is that not kind of like the definition of like the moments cards that are in my
Yeah.
team?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
these yes, everyone's an NBA player. They're one of the best, most talented basketball players in the world. But maybe they have a night where they're starting because one of the starters is out, or it's a big game or something, and these players just play out of their mind, and it's like they had that opportunity and they seized it. So I think that that's just something that can translate into anything, even if you don't want to do anything with like content creation, or you just are looking at a regular life where you have some interests and passions, and you go to work, and that's your life. Seize the moment within your professional business career too. I think it's something that can translate to any aspect of life.
Absolutely. No, that's a great comparison with the moments cards. Obviously Donovan Mitchell is on everybody's, the hot
Right.
topic, but probably my favorite one of the year so far has been Jose Alvarado. Perfect example of a guy taking advantage of an opportunity. I literally put him on my fantasy team off waivers that day,
Yeah.
and I told my dad, we were sitting there having some lunch, and I was like, I put Jose Alvarado on my team today. I don't know, I just have a good feeling. And he goes off for 38, and
Yeah.
like, you know what? This dude worked to get in the league, undrafted. I love undrafted players and also second round players. Working, getting their shot, being prepared, and he has a big night, and he gets rewarded with the moments card.
Yeah.
And, to go back to Dorian Finney-Smith, I mentioned him.
Yeah.
He was undrafted. He had a solid college career at Virginia Tech and then mostly Florida.
Hmm.
But if you don't know, he was the last man on the roster and the Mavericks literally gave him a training camp invite and just gave him a chance. They said, okay, let's see what you can do. And, that was the option.
Yeah.
And he worked hard. He didn't have the jumper he does now, but he kept working at it, and he ended up making a spot, last man on the roster. He called his mom. She broke down crying and all this different stuff. And so now he's in a situation where he's become a starter on a playoff team, and he's one of Luka's right-hand men.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's just like this guy worked and he worked, and even when he had his opportunity, he took advantage of it, and then he kept going and improving his shot. And if you look at, his career up until this year, his three-point percentage has improved year over year. And at the same time, he makes gets a huge contract last year, but he earned every penny.
Right.
I believe, you might need to look up the terms, but 3 years, $55 million or somewhere in that ballpark. And you got dudes out here saying it's an underpay.
Yeah.
For a guy who was undrafted, they took a chance on him. They said, you know what, we're going to take a flyer on you, man. And I hope to meet him one day, because if I did, I would just shake his hand and tell him that he's inspired me.
Yeah.
Because he's the whole inspiration behind my channel.
Right.
And a guy who loved the game and just kept working at it, got an opportunity. And we're, in some ways we're similar. He always gets back to his community, back home in Virginia. And he's definitely an inspiration to me, with seeing how he handles his family life. And, when I mentioned his mom, he said that when he started in the league, his mom was working at Church's Chicken.
Wow.
And now he has the opportunity to say, Mom, you don't have to work another day in your life. and bring home, a lot of money, but he's earned it. And
definitely.
It's really inspiring, man. And I'm really fortunate to have the chance to get to watch him. You talk about moments. Did you play last year at all?
No.
Okay.
First year.
Okay. Well, that's cool. So you came at a good time for sure.
Yeah.
And I'd love to hear more about how you got into it. But last year, they had the series against the Suns, and in Game 4, he absolutely went off. He had 8 threes.
Yep.
And he got a special moments card out of it. He got a Galaxy Opal, 98 overall.
Okay.
Like, this dude was prepared, and he took advantage. And they made it. They lost to the champs, but they made it to the Western Conference Finals. Nobody thought they would get that far, and he was a big reason why. So, yeah, man, I'm a big fan of his.
I love that, man. Like I was a little familiar with him and his story, but not nearly as much. Now having you shared it and everything, that truly is an inspiring story. And I mean, that's exactly, not like the same story, but plus he was undrafted, and that's he was just a hardworking, gritty player, and that's why I loved him on the Pistons. So I think that there's just so much more respect for, and I mean, we both said we love Zion and I love Cade, so like no hate on like first round or first picks or anything like that, or top picks, but there's something about like that second round, that undrafted player that just makes a name for themselves. Because I think you pick out any other professional football, baseball, whatever, you don't have to be in the first round to be a huge impact player. But in the NBA, really, unless you're first round, you don't really get too much notoriety.
Yep. No, exactly. And I think but first of all, we can both agree that Ben Wallace is the best undrafted player of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Another NBA player I had the chance to meet in college and take pics of him to a lesser extent than I was talking about earlier was Fred VanVleet.
Okay.
And he popularized bet on yourself. People are saying that, but he really brought that to the forefront, I feel like. And he wore that undrafted chip on his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
He's an NBA champ.
Yeah.
And to see him go crazy in the finals.
Oh, yeah.
I have a very vivid memory in my head of him, with the Band-Aid on his face, and he goes back to the Raptors bench and he's just yelling, just going crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, bro, like 3 years before that, in 2016, he was telling me to come to the gym, and I was watching him get some work in. Obviously a great college player at Wichita State. And it's like, wow, he's really doing his thing, and he was
Yeah.
undrafted. Like I could keep going down the list, but at the same time, it's just like the NBA has a lot of really inspiring stories that people might not know. But I give you two examples right there, and of course Ben Wallace. Like that goes without.
Yeah.
So
I mean, those are great examples, and it's just, it's really cool to see, and just, I think that it's easy to watch, the NBA or play 2K and think like, oh, like that player, isn't that good, or they're the last man on the roster, but
right,
it's like these people are still so talented and they put in so much work, and it's just like that's just how great the league is. I mean, you have your generational talents, but everyone that's in the NBA, I mean, they're there for a reason, and they've worked so hard to see people that, maybe were doubted or undrafted second round, or just even like first round picks, top picks who, maybe struggled right out the gate, but then they did kind of turn their career around. Like, you just have to respect players so much.
absolutely. And does the casual household name, regular fan know Dorian Finney-Smith? Probably not, but that guy has given me motivation, and he has no
Yeah.
idea who I am. So the ultimate goal, and I've put it out there in the universe several times, and I'm going to take this opportunity again, if you don't mind.
No, not at all.
One thing 2K has done since 2K20, after in the midst of the pandemic, was fan favorites cards. So players that players love to use, and they've actually honored some content creators with some of their favorite cards. So if we ever get a fan favorite Dorian Finney-Smith, dude,
Yeah. I
that
love that.
that would be huge. He got a pink diamond in 21. He got his opal moments I mentioned in 22.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all well and good, and I've had a blast with those cards. But man, if we get fan favorites Dorian Finn, that'll be a moment for me. We're like, yeah, like that'll be my moment.
For sure.
that'll be a moment for me. Like, okay, like
We'll
this.
make the Jimmy card if that happens. The
That,
Jimmy
that
Moments card.
that'll be like for real. Like
Yeah.
that'll be a moment. Like, and people have made concept cards of me and all this. I mean, I have the best fans, man. It's
Yeah.
incredible. But the best community, best support. But at the same time, it's just like I want the DFS moments card, their moments
Yeah.
card, and the fan favorites card as well.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome for sure. And I think that's another thing that I really liked about 2K, my team in 2K. And like I said, this is my first year playing it, is like whether it's the moments card, whether it's, moments of the week, or even just regular cards throughout the seasons, like I feel like the game does a good job highlighting players that you don't always hear about or you don't always know about. And yeah, like, in this version of the game, you're playing with current stars, older players and stuff. So like, yeah, you have your Jordans, your LeBrons, Kobe's, all the people you'd expect. But I mean, the game does a really good job also, giving those special moments cards like an Alvarado, like you mentioned, or I don't know, Andrew Nemhard is
Yeah,
another good example. And I think that that's just cool because I mean, like, as I can only imagine being a professional athlete, like it must be really cool to see yourself in a video game, but then to see yourself kind of get like rewarded for playing like a fantastic game and saying like, oh, I got like a 95 overall card because I went off the other night in a big game. Like that's just so cool. And it really helps kind of like, I think for me, it's been like, all right, I love the NBA. I'm getting like these new cards of players, and some of these players I'm not familiar with, whether they're older or newer. And like,
right.
I'm gonna go read about them and like learn more about them because they're a fun card to use. And I think that's just cool.
There's two perfect examples, and not necessarily moments cards, but guys we saw this year that haven't been in the game have been Ricky Davis. A lot of
Yeah.
people are familiar with him. That was kind of our era growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And he's one of the best cards in the game, which some people don't like. But what I say to that is he was a bucket in real life in my team's
Oh yeah.
game mode. So get over it. No, I'm just kidding. And they I don't know what happened with Tim Thomas. They juiced the crap out of him, but he's probably still the best card in the game, or one of the best, and it's really cool. So, right now, Lou Aldeng came back after an absence of a couple of years, and he's one of my favorite players growing up a Bulls fan. So,
Yeah.
not the biggest names, not the Giannis's, not the Stephs, guys that, have their chance in the sun, learning, kind of, you mentioned the historic players, learning about the,
Yep.
players from the past. My homework assignment, they call me the professor for a reason.
Yeah.
You is look up 2K21, Terry Dishinger, the dentist. He was the
Yep.
best game. He was extremely hard to get. Pistons legend.
Yep.
And at the same time, it's just like everybody wanted this card. He was really hard to get. And, he's forever going to be a 2K legend, a My Team legend. You got people clamoring for a Terry Dishinger card right now because they remember what happened in 2K21. And that's when I first started streaming. So I remember it well.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited, man. It's going to be super fun. Season 4 is down the corner. I'm hoping we get some more moments cards, and I'm really glad we got Donovan to celebrate his performance. Embiid, Jeremy Grant, Keldon Johnson, those 3 guys are all my fantasy team. So rock on.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, hey, good picks and getting those on your team.
They
But
all got
no,
moments cards, so
yeah,
there you go.
they did. Yeah, I mean, the moments cards have just been fun, man. Like I think that like yeah, Donovan's block, Jalen Brunson's block, those were frustrating moments for me, but just going to grind the moments cards have been so fun for me, and just like to get into the game and just to honestly to feel like a kid again, to be back when I was, 10, 11, 12, watching the NBA and going crazy and, seeing all these players. And I mean, like, I don't even think like, I mean, I don't know, Ben Wallace, his card, the, what is it, Intensity
Yeah,
series. I don't know if that's regarded as a good card
it's
competitively or
not.
not. It's not.
No,
Okay.
it can't
So
really shoot.
it's not, but I love it. I love
Yeah,
him, and he's always in my lineup, and I have fun with him, and it's like
I love
that's just the cool thing about it.
I love it. No, that's the whole part of my team is like, and that's the whole thing. I always say use the cards you like.
Yeah.
I have a friend who tweeted it out unexpectedly, but I told him he was thinking about stepping away from the game, and he's a big Bucks fan. I just told him I was like, dude, just use the cards you like. And now he's back and he's having a blast, and he's a big My Team player, so I use the cards you like. Perfect. You use Ben Wallace. He's your favorite player. One of your favorite players. Use him, bro. Like we're not all going to win the 250K tournament.
Right.
Like we're a lot of us are just out here playing for fun. The guys
Exactly.
who are competing for that, they got to know the best cards and be prepared for all that stuff, bro. If you want to use Ben Wallace, go crazy, man. I'll tell you. So Jeremy Grant, I've always liked his game, but like I said, he's a big part of my fantasy team, and it's something that I'm really enjoying playing this year. So I put a bunch of badges on him. Hall of Fame quick first step. But for those who don't know, again, I'm speaking in 2K in particular. I made Jeremy Grant a lot better than he probably should be.
Yeah.
Why? Because I've enjoyed watching him play this year,
Right.
and I've always been a fan of his. So at the same time, it's just like that's what My Team allows you to do, and use your favorite players, build a Pistons themed team. Use my favorite players from the Bulls era. Obviously, it's Derrick Rose. We got Kirk Heinrich in the game. We got Luol Deng in the game. Bringing back that era.
Yeah. Definitely. And I mean, like we've been talking a lot, and we were referring to my team, but like literally, like just take a step back, and even if you're not familiar with the game and think about it, it's called My Team. So like make it your own, have fun with it, and I mean, like don't feel like you have to spend you know hundreds of dollars in real currency to get the best players. We don't feel like if Jimmy says, "Oh, um, I don't know," if he says Russell Westbrook is the best card to use, like if you don't like using them, like don't use it.
Right.
That's the cool thing about it. Just have
Yeah.
fun and just I think just enjoy it for what it is. It's a game. Basketball is a game. And it's meant to be fun and it's meant to be enjoyed. So just have fun in whatever way that means to you.
Absolutely. I mean, I'll give you an example. So
Yeah.
people have been clamoring for a Shea Gilgeous-Alexander card, and rightfully
Yeah.
having a great season. And so he hasn't necessarily gotten a moments card, but what he did at Christmas was get a diamond card, who's really good and one of the best cards in the game, in my opinion. But there's other options. You can use Magic Johnson. You can use Penny Hardaway. You can use the Donovan Mitchell if you like using a smaller guard. That's not Donovan Mitchell's obviously completely free
Right.
for agendas and things of that nature. So at the same time, it's just like, there's options that you have, and you can use that. Like I'll run Shea, but I don't know. I might throw Donovan in my lineup because I love cooking with him. I love the way
Right.
So there's so many options. There's options for the player who is a little bit more casual and doesn't play as much. There's options for someone in the middle and doesn't want to spend money or spends a little bit of money. And if you want to rip packs all day, which I don't, I teach you guys how to play the game, but nobody spent. But at the same time, it's just like there's something there for everybody. And I think there's reasons for everybody to find fun. And not just in my team, but in 2K in general.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, that's the cool thing about it. It just have fun, whatever way makes the most sense to you, and that's all that we can really ask for. Um, I
Oh,
am curious because you
yeah,
mentioned ripping packs. Did you do the agenda for the Pink Diamond pack?
I did, and I finished it today, and I'm gonna save it for stream tomorrow to see who I get. I don't really care who I get, but
Okay,
it'll be something funny for stream to see
okay,
see if I get anybody who's not good. But we'll
okay.
see.
I'll have to tune in tomorrow to see you get because I was curious. I got it today, and I got the silencers, Michael Jordan.
Oh, okay. He came out
So
a long time ago, but I mean it's
yeah,
MJ.
yeah,
So
not bad. I mean, I don't know what it was from, but I pulled the 94 overall Jordan
okay,
like a week ago or something.
okay,
So then getting the 95 one today, I was like,
yeah,
would have been nice to get a different player I don't have, but I mean, it's Jordan. You can't complain.
and it's MJ. He's the cover star this year for a reason. Um, I
Exactly.
wanted to do the Jordan challenges like I did back in 2K11. I started doing those. Got to play those early in LA. So again, that was really cool that we got
Yeah.
all that for 2K. So I know we're gonna start wrapping it up here soon. But my little quick question for you is, now you're pretty ingrained in this My Team stuff. How did you start playing it? It's your first year. I want to hear some of that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely appreciate you pulling out your journalism skills on me and you know, turning the microphone back on me a bit.
Yeah. Well,
But no, that's a great question. Like I said, I've always loved basketball, so I've always been a fan of the 2K games. I grew up playing them. I was always like a 2K over NBA Live kind of person, so 2K has always been big to me. Um, I always liked the of my team, but to be honest, I didn't really understand. And that could have been because I was younger or just because I didn't take the time to learn about it. But I
right.
think one of the things that really kind of turned me away from it was um, the idea of contracts for players.
Mhm.
So I was kind of under the idea of like, oh, like if I have so and so on my team, like I want to be able to just like play unlimited games with them. Like I don't want to have to worry about, oh, I can only get like X amount of games. And to be honest, I don't even know if I'm really explaining how it worked
No,
properly, but
you are. You are. I know
okay,
it's
cool. So that always kind of was like, I'm not really that interested. So I would just get the 2K games, and I'd honestly usually wait till like Black Friday or after Christmas, and by that time they're usually like half off. So I would just get it, and I would just run a season, and I would just run a couple of years of a season, usually with the Pistons, or sometimes I would do a fantasy draft, and I would just have fun with it. And then this year I got it. Um, I got 2K23 early November, I want to say, so before Black Friday, but it was on like a good sale, so I got it. And someone just randomly said, "Oh, there's no contracts anymore." And I was like, "Huh."
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
let me check that out. So I started playing it, and at first I was like, I have no idea really what I'm doing. Like, I don't really understand I understand the mechanics of building your team, but I was like, how do packs work? What is like this experience for? What is like the season? What does a season mean? Stuff like that. But I slowly kind of dove into it, and that's how I got connected with you. I came across your content. I was like, okay, like now I'm not. So that
yep.
was my experience of getting into it. And I mean, dude, I hate to say it, but like, cause I just play for fun. Like, I'm not competitive on it.
Neither am
Obviously,
I.
like I don't stream or anything, but like when I got it, like I think November, we'll say like November 10th or something. I got my Sony like PlayStation annual review, kind of like how they do like for Spotify, they tell you like what you listen to the year.
Yep.
I got that like December 14th or something, and it said that for the year of 2022, I I played like 200 and I think 240 hours of PlayStation, but 147 of those hours were from 2K, and I had it for less than a month.
Wow.
And I hate saying that, but that's just how, and that was all my team.
Wow.
I haven't done anything else. I haven't started a season. My player doesn't really appeal to me that much. It was just my team because I just fell in love with it. And when I could see like,
Wow.
okay, like I have a team right now with Ben Wallace as my starting center. Like now I'm adding Cade as my point or shooting guard, and like now I'm also throwing in maybe I don't know who's someone that
Ivy.
would be. Yeah, I mean Ivy, and we keep the Pistons train. Like I do have a team that's just like all Pistons, whether it's current or past. Like that's been a lot of fun, and
Yep.
just even kind of combining it. Like I love Duke basketball, so like let's run like Jason Tatum and RJ Barrett, but then let's throw in Big Ben and SGA at point or something. Like it's just so cool to experiment with it, and just something about like I don't like I love video games, but I'm not like a big like I like to grind for things in most video games, but just grinding to level 40 in 2K and just like doing all the agendas, it's just so fun.
Yep.
And I've loved it. So that's been my experience and it's been fantastic, man. And I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, I feel like as long as this game's out, I'm gonna be playing it. And unless they bring back the contracts, I'm
Oh,
probably sold to continue on for every year moving forward. And next year, I will get it probably on launch or around launch because I will forever kick myself that when I got it, it was already season 2, so no Scottie Pippen for me.
well, yeah, that is a bit of a bummer. But at the same time, like I'll never forget. Like it was almost like a where were you moment when they announced that there's no contracts this year. People
Yeah.
have been asking about that for years, kind of like you have, and like it's huge. It saves so much time. Like we're so used to it right now that
Hmm.
not even a thought anymore. But like it has saved so much time and so much in-game currency to not have to worry about the contracts, man. It's such a blessing. I
Yeah.
streamed 2K21 for the last time before the server shut down couple of days last week, and I just haven't. I've seen all my players just out of contracts. It's like wow, like we do not have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just like again goes back to like what we are saying, like video games are meant to just have fun and just enjoy yourself. And like not to say that you can't have fun or enjoy it with the idea of contracts, but it just like you said, it's just more work. It's more things you have to think about, more things you have to manage,
Yep.
more currency that you have to spend. And it's just like just take them out and just have fun. And 2K, it sounds like they did a great job listening to what the community wanted and asked for. And I mean I'm not as plugged into the community as you or others might be, but it seems like people have been enjoying 2K and my team this year, and I'm just glad to be part of that and to see what they have up their sleeves for the rest of the year.
Absolutely, no. That's very cool for you to say that, and I'm glad you're enjoying it. I was at that time. I was in downtown Indianapolis watching some of my friends who competed in the 2K League Championships that I met in San Francisco.
Yeah,
I was sitting in the stands just watching, and they 2K tweeted, there's a big announcement tonight. You don't want to miss it. And sometimes people think, oh, that doesn't mean anything, and then
right.
they have a little video of Dame in the game saying no more contracts. It's like whoa, like that it blew up. Like
Yeah,
the
I
people,
love it.
and even the detractors were saying, wow, you know what, we've asked for this for years, and you guys finally listened. And
Right.
not getting too much into it, but I mean, there were some 2K employees that made it public that they were excited that the contracts
Yeah,
were no longer in the game.
that's funny. I love that.
Yeah, so yeah, man. I mean, the people at 2K play their game, and a lot of times
Hmm.
play with the community. That's no secret. I'm not telling you any inside information on that. That's a fact. Whether it's in the park or whatever the case may be,
Yeah,
for my career and all that different stuff. They play it, they engage with it, they're grinding to level 40, things of that nature, whether it be in my career or my team. So it's pretty cool, and
yeah.
they they know what they're doing, man. It's been a pleasure to be a part of with them and be affiliated with them.
Yeah, no, I mean it's super cool and it's awesome that you have that opportunity. And I mean, I'm just one person, but I can say that I think you've done a fantastic job just, in that partnership and representing 2K and just what you do for the community. And,
Thank you.
I know everyone else in your community would agree with that. So, just keep doing what you're doing, man, because it's been awesome to learn from you, as I've been introducing myself to this new mode, for me at least, and also just to kind of see what you're doing and to see how you're positively impacting the community. The community, it's really cool.
No, thank you, Zach. That's very kind of you. And at the same
Yeah.
time, um, another one of my sayings is, if I help a person, it's a W. So if I help Zach, or if I help Bobby or Billy or whoever comes next, because people are going to start playing the game, especially in the springtime and the summertime when we start
Hmm.
all these crazy cards. I'm here to help.
I love it.
My chat gave me the nickname of the professor. Like at some point, I got to live up to it.
Yeah, there you go.
2K TV. I've always wanted to be on 2K TV back when I was in North Dakota. And, I have a lot of nicknames, but, Professor, they say my team Professor, which sounds kind of funny, but
Yeah.
Oh, it's fine. I enjoy it. I just want people to call me Jimmy, honestly. But if I'm the professor, I got to educate.
There you
You got
go.
to sit down and take notes.
Exactly. I love it. Awesome. Well, Jimmy, to all of our listeners, you mentioned that you're streaming content creation, social media, and everything. If people want to check out your content or just reach out, say, they heard you on the podcast, or even just ask you questions as they dive into my team, what's the best places to check out your content and to connect with you?
Yeah, my Twitter,
Okay.
good place, probably the best place. I'm on there every day, and I stream in the mornings.
Okay.
Live around 8:30 or 9 Eastern, and I keep it live until content time, which is 11 a.m. Eastern. So, always welcome in my chat. You can go ahead and provide links to my content.
Yep.
And I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, of course. So, like Jimmy said, I will put links in the description of this episode. So we'll have his Twitch, so you can check out his streams
Yep.
that take place in the morning, and Twitter, so you can always check out his content and engage with him there and see what is going on in 2K and my team that way. But I'll make sure that's all in the description. But Jimmy, is there any last thoughts, words, message, or anything that you want to leave the listeners with?
I want to leave the listeners with one more thing with, one more little piece of advice I give on stream today is, if you're doing this content creation stuff, or if you're even watching a content creator or streamer or whatever, just go in with an open mind, because you never know, you might learn something. You go into an open mind and you never know what could happen. And that's what I talked about earlier with preparation. So have fun with it. Find the fun. It's a video game. We're playing video games for fun. It can be frustrating sometimes. No game is perfect, but it's fun. I love doing what I do. I'm very blessed and fortunate to be able to do this for a living.
I love it. That's great advice. Great way to end it. Have fun, find the fun in things.
Yep.
And, I think another thing that I just want to make sure I drive home one more time that Jimmy said earlier is don't take things too seriously. Don't take yourself too seriously. Take your work, your professional, you know, those kind of things seriously, but don't take yourself too seriously. Life is supposed to be enjoyed and to have fun. So just keep that in the back of the mind as well.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, we're over an hour.
All right. Yeah.
Got to run. I got to run. So thanks again, Zach, and I look forward to listening to it.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Jimmy. I'll catch you later.
All right.